So this week I have done a little bit of a week in the life video. I had quite a few meetings. Nico was home with me quite a bit this week, and I just thought that I would film some of it for you so you could first of all see what it is like and how busy it can get, but also how 90% of the time it's just like being a normal parent. So I have been done a little bit of filming every day, and then what I'm going to do is just sort of narrate through it and give you a little bit more information, and then any questions that you have got, leave them in the comments or come and find me on Instagram or Facebook, and then I'm more than happy to go into a little bit more detail about what we got up to. So on Monday I had Susie and Stanley over for a couple of days. So if you do follow me on Instagram, you'd have seen that we were having loads of fun. He's only 7 months old, so that was super cute having him over. And here's a bit of what we got up to. Good morning. It's Monday morning and we've got a visitor today. We got Stanley. We got Stanley the visitor today. So Stanley and Susie stayed over with us last night, and it was alright, wasn't it, mate? It was alright. It was... The kids found it a bit strange having a baby in the house. Elsa just loves a doll being around. Squirt always a little bit, it brings up a little bit for him, I think, in terms of missing his siblings and stuff. But I think we could get used to it, don't you? I think we could get used to having one of you in the house. Yes. So yeah, it is Monday. We've just come for some brunchy breakfasty, and we're just going to get a few bits, do a bit of shopping. We need to get some bits for Elsa's science project, so we're looking forward to that. And then we're just going to have some fun today. And we're just going to have some fun today. Yeah. On my way to the doctors to get a measles jab. So when I registered with this new doctors, they just took some routine blood work from me, and they have found out that I'm not actually immunised against measles. It's clear on my records that I was, but I just need a booster, and with this job it's super important that I'm vaccinated against as much as I can. A, because being ill is just the worst thing ever when you've got meetings and children to look after, and the children often come ill, children often come unvaccinated, that's a big thing. So yeah, I just like to protect myself against everything. I also get the flu jab too. My doctors and any pharmacy that I've been to has always been really helpful with allowing me to have my flu jab because of the job that I do. Also because, again, it's just new environments, new children, it's different antibodies, and yeah, they often come from families where it's a little bit chaotic and red books get lost and appointments get missed and things like that, so you don't often know if they are immunised and things. So just to keep myself safe and well and to make my life easier, I would say, yeah, always just give your jabs a check, make sure you're up to date with everything, just prevent as much as you can. They're not for everybody, it's entirely up to you, but my personal preference is they've never done me any harm, and I like to know that I'm protected and feel protected and do everything I can to make sure that I can keep manning the ship. So I'm off to there. Hi! Are you gonna jump?
This is fun. Oh my goodness, that was Elsa just flying through there.
Wow. So we decided to come to soft play after school, and I'm glad we did. We've never been to this one before, and it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like for all of them. So this should keep them entertained for a bit.
Get the coffees in.
Yeah, we're gonna have some. Probably just give them dinner here, which is just so much easier. And then they'll be absolutely knackered by the time they get home, and it's a win for everybody. Monday, we quite often pop to something like a soft play after school. Quite often with looked after children, you will go through stages where you need to do quite a bit of distracting. Being in a home environment isn't always the best thing. They quite often have a lot of steam that they need to burn off. This is in our experience anyway. I was quite worried about what it would be like having a baby in the house. Last time we went to visit baby Stanley, the kids didn't deal with sharing our attention very well, but it was completely different this time. So it just shows what a couple of months have done for them in making them feel a little bit secure, more secure around us. So yeah, like I say, Monday, it was quite a nice day. It was nice to be able to spend time with my friends and not have a 9-to-5 job where I would have been in the office, and the children really enjoyed it. So yeah. Good morning, it is Tuesday. We were up and at 'em this morning. We had to be a little bit quiet because Stanley and Susie were sleeping. They didn't have a great night again, bless him. I think he's a little bit poorly still. But we were up, the kids were brilliant about it, like just tiptoeing and whispering. They're really sad that they didn't get to see him before he goes today. But they are off at school. It rained on the school run heavily. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know how I feel about that. So I'm just gonna go and sort myself out this morning, get my last cuddles in with Stanley, and then we've got a busy day today. My social worker is heading over to me for about 12:30, and then we've got to be at the school at 1 o'clock for a pep at 1 and then a lac at 2. Oof, heavy day, heavy afternoon. So yeah, busy week. So I've just got home from the school. So we was there at 1 o'clock, it's now 3:20. Whew. We had a pep review initially. We went through how they're doing at school. They're both doing brilliantly, which is always just a bonus to hear. They've gone through so school gets a budget that they spend on looked after children, and they literally don't need that much support in school, so therefore they've said that they will look into paying for their swimming lessons that I'm currently already paying for. That's really positive. Then we had the LAC review, so there was an IRO there, never met him before, he was really nice. Children's new social worker, children's old social worker, my social worker, someone from school, and me. And we just spoke about absolutely everything. It was so positive. So Tuesday was completely different. Tuesday all day I was a complete foster carer, and this is probably as busy as your days will get. Having a PEP and a LAC review on the same day, I think is quite common because the same kind of people need to be invited. More often than not, they'll happen at school, but they might be on completely different time frames. So you might have a PEP at one point and a LAC at a different point of the year. But if they can coincide together, it is always helpful. You will have a PEP every term, I believe, and a LAC is every 6 months unless something sort of goes on. I find these days quite tricky. I end up with a bit of a migraine, a little bit of information overload. It was a different experience for me this time around because before the children weren't involved in any way, whereas this time the children knew exactly what was going on. They were called into the meeting, which isn't something I was used to. And I think it rocked them a little bit. When they got home, they were asking a few questions. They had a completely different idea on what the meeting was about. But yeah, days like that is when it does feel like a job, when you do have to deal with lots of different people from different departments and things, and you have to go away with sort of notes and action plans and things that you have to do. I didn't come away with too many because it was only the first. I don't have anything I have to make sure is done before the next meeting, but sometimes they will give you things that you need to have done by the time the next meeting's done. It was just nice to catch up with my social worker. She cancelled my supervision because basically everything we would have gone over in supervision got done during the LAC review, and she got to see the children. So we killed a couple birds with one stone there, which was really helpful. And my next kind of thing like that is Tuesday coming again, where the new social worker is coming to my house to meet the children. So that will be quite interesting. The children haven't met her properly and she's not been to our house before. But she seems really, really nice, and I can't wait for the children to get to know her. And again, those are the little bits that make it feel like a job rather than as opposed to the Monday where it was just normal family life, really. So we're just about to sit down and do Elsa's science experiment. So we've determined that vinegar and bicarbonate of soda worked best. Now we need to make a volcano.
Yeah.
Excited?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Good. Let's go. Goggles on. So we spent a lot of Tuesday doing Elsa's science project, which I absolutely loved. I love doing things like that. I am really creative and I love making learning fun for the children. That's been a big adjustment for us again, homework and things. Nico kind of takes the lead on homework in terms of English and maths and spelling and reading and stuff. He has the patience of a saint and really, really enjoys it, and it's a nice bit of bonding time for him when he gets home from work, because he doesn't spend as much time with the children as I do, and that's the first time he sees them all day is sort of 5:30 when he gets in, so that's a really nice time for them. But again, it's just all those little things that children need in a parent. You take on that role really, and we just slipped into it quite easily. So those are the bits that I do really enjoy. I touched a little bit on logging. So at the end of Tuesday, I sat down and caught up on some logs. So at the end of every night, you have to log everything the child's done in the day. I do that electronically on something called Charms. If you're still doing it on paper, go to your social worker and recommend that you get Charms, because it's just made everything so much easier. So it all goes onto an electronic site, and children's social worker, my social worker, anybody can log in, read everything, and everyone can get on the same page super quickly. Logs have to be done every night. Like I say, every child's different, but for me, it's every night each child gets their own log. So I did that on Tuesday. But aside from that, just most of the day, aside from the 2 meetings, was just being a regular parent. Good morning. So it is Wednesday today. I thought yesterday was busy, but today is extra busy. We've literally just left the house, dropped the kids off at school, and we've got a day of it, haven't we?
We do.
I've got Mr. Olaf foster care with me today, which is exciting. I'll make him talk loads and answer loads of questions. So we're on our way now to an appointment, and we've got time for a coffee before we go. Always got time for a coffee. Foster carers need to always have time for a coffee. It's horrible weather, and today I didn't have to get out the car because he took them in, which is a bonus. So yeah, I'm gonna again vlog it all. Today's the day we've got panel. Are you scared?
No.
No? Not even a little bit?
No.
He will be when we get in there. In the waiting room, he'll have a different look on his face. So yeah, let's go. So panel day was on Wednesday. So this is our 2-year panel review. So you go to panel once when you initially become a foster carer. We went to panel again because we changed, like our agency changed names. We went to panel for our 1st year review, and this was our 2nd year review. So we're old hands at panel. Doesn't get easier. I speak about it in the vlog. That's us when we just initially got out and it was all fresh in my mind. On reflection, it was such a positive panel experience. Our social worker even said sort of how easy we are to write about. And yeah, we just got lots of compliments. The biggest one being just how we're not scared to ask for help. And I probably hadn't really realised that that was something that not everybody feels comfortable doing. Fostering can be really daunting and really, really difficult. So if you've not got the confidence to speak up and ask for help, it can go very wrong very quickly. So yeah, that's the biggest thing we took away from panel, and that isn't something that we'll be changing anytime soon in terms of us. The behaviours that we're dealing with at the moment, it's up and down, but again, we've just been completely honest with everybody, got everybody on the same page, crystal clear with what's going on and how we're dealing with it. And yeah, it might get to a point where we do need to ask for help again, and we in no way have ever been made to feel inadequate for doing that. So that was a super positive experience for us. I also had Nico with me for the day. We had a couple of appointments and we were here, there and everywhere, and we misjudged it a little bit. So we sat in the car for a bit and I got him to answer a few of your questions. So here's what he had to say. So we're just sat in the car because we are almost an hour early for our next stop. So babe, let's interview you.
No.
Yes. Yes. So, I'm trying to think of some questions that people have asked me about yourself. So, first of all, do you like what we do? Do you like fostering as much as me?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, I would. If I could, I would probably do it full time as well. If we could together. Yeah.
What do you like most about it?
I like spending time with the kids doing I'll probably be a bit lame, but homework's probably my favourite thing. I like doing homework and stuff like that, and teaching them new things and helping them with things that they didn't know before.
Okie doke. What do you find most difficult about it?
When stuff difficult things happen, which they always do in fostering, and I'm at work and you're on your own, that's the things I find most difficult, that I can't be there all the time.
Right.
So if you'll ring me and go, oh, this has happened, I'm like, oh, I've got to either wait until I finish work, or I've got to try and sort something out so that I can get home from it, because always I'd rather be there than be at work anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that's the hardest thing.
Okie dokie. What did you prefer, fostering younger ones or the age we've got now?
I don't think I have a preference, if I'm honest. I think obviously having younger ones, it's more full on because they're there more often. So there's more time that you've got to try and sort of look after them, obviously, because they're at school all day otherwise when they're older. But there is something about having a younger child around. I do miss having a younger child around. I do. There's positives and negatives to both, I suppose.
How do you feel now about obviously everything we went through in terms of saying goodbye to the boys that we had before?
Oh, that's a difficult one. It depends on the day, I think. I think it depends on the day. I think some days I don't think about them I suppose I do probably think about them every day still, I would think. I still think I would. It depends what it is. When Stanley came back this weekend, I probably thought about them more again, because he's a baby and he was in the high chair, and so we were doing things that you would have done for when the boys were there. So I suppose days like that you think about them more, but obviously it's easier now than it was 7 months ago. And obviously where the boys are now is much better, and that they're happy, and knowing that they're happy and they're secure, then that makes it easier as well. But yeah, I suppose it's one of them things that you're never ever going to a part of you will always be with them. A part of you is always gone, but yeah, that's why we do the job that we do. But that's probably why we've gone on to do long term now. So that I wouldn't want to have to go through that again. I don't think I'd put us through that again, unless it was a really specific circumstance and we were really needed to help. I don't think I'd put us through that again.
Cool. What other questions do I get regularly? How do you cope with contact?
Well, contact's not as big a thing for me, because I don't have to deal with it as much in regards to the fact that I don't physically go to contact. I think at first I struggled with contact because you see the impact of what it has on the children. So then you have to make sure that you're putting on almost a game face with the parents, because at the end of the day, it's a job and it's a responsibility to make them feel as comfortable as they can as well, because at the end of the day you are looking after their children. So yeah, I think I struggled with that for quite a while at first with the boys. I think it's easier now, but I think that's again because the children are a little.
And you were very rarely there. You had
Yeah.
more input with contact with the boys, didn't you, than you do now?
Yeah, and obviously it was more frequent. So the more frequent, the behaviours that then come out after contact were more prevalent in our everyday life.
So I'm classed as the main carer because obviously I'm there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I do all of interaction with social workers and I'm the lead role. What would you say is your role? What do you feel like is your role in this?
Personally, I think ours is quite. I think since we've now got Squirtle and Elsa, I think I'm just as hands-on as I was before, but physically now I don't do much too dissimilar in time to you because obviously they're at school for a lot of that time. So whereas with the boys, there could be 40, 50 hours a week where it was just you. Whereas now I'm more sort of.
And what about the fostering element of it? Like, because obviously I have to go to meetings and before you'd come to LAC reviews and stuff, but this time you've kind of taken a little bit more of a back seat, haven't you?
I think because I don't feel I'm as needed in that way as I was before. I think before what was going on, I felt that I needed to support you more. Whereas I feel now that that's a lot more under control. I think we've got really good. Our social worker obviously has always been great. I think I couldn't fault Squirtle and Elsa's social worker. She's brilliant. So I feel more comfortable with you dealing with those things now. And I suppose my role really is I get in, I sort of do homework, that kind of stuff. Obviously I help with logs at the weekend. I'll do logs at the weekend if I've spent more time with them. Sometimes if I'm off, I'll do the logs on that day because I've seen them just as much. So I suppose I help as much as I can, and when I feel I need to, I take it. I don't feel like, although I am the second carer, I don't feel like I'm in the background, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So lastly then, what piece of advice would you give to a husband that is a foster carer, or maybe a husband that's going into it and doesn't know what to expect, but the wife or the husband will be the main carer, like the partner, the second partner? So yeah, I suppose as a second partner, what advice would you give to other second partners?
Make sure that you want to do it first of all. If you have any doubts, I didn't. It was a very joint thing with me and Connie. We both wanted to do fostering. I took it as the main thing that we were both doing. As much as I'm at work, I still feel that if someone was to define me, fostering would be my main thing. So I'd be like, I think that's the way it should be. It should be your main thing. Obviously you have to go to work, but your responsibility is you've got however many children in your care, you've got to really want to do it and just be as helpful as you can. Just do as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Thanks, babes.
All right.
Ready? So we're here at our offices and we're about to go in for our 2-year review of the panel. Are you scared, babe?
No.
No?
Hello.
Hello, it's Connie and Nico for panel.
Hi, can you pull it up, please?
Thank you. Why have you got flowers?
Because I'm the prettiest girl at the ball.
Why have you got flowers?
Because we just passed.
We passed panel. Unanimous yes, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
A unanimous yes. So there was 4 people, wasn't there, independent panel members, childcare lady, a care leaver, social worker, wasn't she? I think 2 of them were social workers. But yeah, they were all really pleased with us. We got asked a couple of questions. So we got asked like the health and safety stuff. Are the children registered with dentists and doctors? Do I have a carbon monoxide machine? And something else. Oh, home insurance, because you have to tell your home insurance that you got foster kids. So all of that was yes. We got asked sort of what it was like with the safer caring. Had a little chat about sort of bathing in their swimsuits and then making the decision to not do that any longer because we want to promote like a healthy, normal family. And they asked us how our year's been in all, and obviously we mentioned saying goodbye to the boys and how we overcame that, and just and they also asked us how we moved house and how we helped the children in that, and how we made it okay for them. So we went through everything that I went through in my moving house video. And they were all really pleased. They said, we're a credit to the agency. We're just what fostering needs. We put our training into practice. What else did they say, babe?
Not afraid to ask for help. When you
Not
need it,
afraid
which
to
is
ask for
massive.
help. Yeah, that was a massive one that they said doesn't happen often, and is what they need, and is just highly recommended. And they were just really proud of us and happy to recommend us for another year. So, woohoo! So after a manic day, going through panel, the excitement of that, of everything, we then picked the children up from school, and I was adamant we had a dentist appointment, but we didn't. It's not until like next Wednesday. So we picked the kids up from school, dragged them all the way to the dentist for the dentist to say, no, it's next week. So, I was livid because we were so tired. We'd been out of the house all day, but we went for a hot drink, had a little catch up, which was nice. Kids had a nice chat with us. It's nice to take them to a new environment for them to open up that little bit more. And then the children had swimming lessons. Obviously, you're not allowed to video anywhere near the swimming pool or the children and things like that. But it was a super positive week because Squirtle went up a level, which is fantastic. Elsa is on 96%, bless her. She just can't get kicking her legs when she's on her belly. She like drags them behind her, makes it so difficult. But on her back, she's like a dolphin. So the instructor was just like, if she could just kick those legs when she's on her front, then she'd have gone up too. So fingers crossed, she can get there next week. But that was super positive. Swimming lessons and extracurricular clubs and activities and stuff are highly encouraged for your own sanity. But no, also just for them to get involved in the community, make friends, bit of normality, a childhood, something that they may not have experienced before. So I'm really up on that. I send them to all the after school clubs, cubs, swimming. Elsa will be starting gymnastics soon. They go to half term clubs and things like that. I just think any time when they can be around other children and learning is just super positive. In the LAC review, I spoke a little bit about it because there aren't that many things that they're needing at the moment out of their budget at school. They have offered to start paying for their swimming lessons because it is a life skill and it is something that they do need to do. So that is something that they are now going to help with, which is an absolute bonus for us. So if you're sort of worried financially about extracurricular activities or things like that, always speak to the children's social worker, because if you think it's something that they really, really will benefit from or will need, or a tutor, for instance, or something like that, LACs and PEPs is when that's your chance to speak up and ask about it, and I would always recommend it. So yeah, that was kind of Wednesday. We came home, she finished a little bit off of her science project. We were all extremely tired and we just all passed out super early on Wednesday, which is a bonus because these kids never sleep. So, what day is it?
Thursday?
Thursday. And how many days is it until your birthday?
10.
Oh my goodness. And where are you going today? Where are you going today?
I am going... Oh boy.
Where are you going? What you got this on for?
School.
School. Awesome. Thursday morning, antics have begun. Nothing to do today outside of the house. So, I'm a free woman until 4:20. Yes! And I need it. Look at the state of this face. Busy. I feel like my world got turned upside down on Friday. I've not really gone into much detail about it, but I did have a conversation with my social worker yesterday about how I could incorporate what happened into a video, because there's a lot of worthwhile knowledge there. There's a lot that can be learnt from that. So yeah, I will be sorting something out where I can discuss that with you. Yeah, it needs to be a shorter day in terms of this vlog because it's a long one so far.
But I'll just be at home, catch up with some paperwork. I'll dip in here about some logs at some point. But aside from that, this is pretty much me all day today. Thursday. Let's give me brew down me. So Thursday was a complete me day. After what was quite a busy weekend and then a full-on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, I always find a day in the week to just completely have to myself. And it's important because everybody knows looking after children is physically demanding, but it's mentally draining when you do have that added pressure of sort of looked after children and not just your biological children. Self-care is something you'll learn about throughout the whole process of becoming a foster carer, and then throughout. It is so important to have self-care time and make sure that you are okay, because you can burn out so quickly and without even realising. The biggest thing about being a foster carer is that you have resilience and that you are resilient, and if you're not looking after yourself, quickly, very, very quickly, you become less and less resilient. And then the smallest thing can feel like the biggest issue. This is your house and this is your family, and you're opening your hearts and your homes to these children. And it can feel very difficult at times if you're not looking after yourself, and you can lose sight of why you're doing it. There was times before with the boys when I didn't think fostering was something that I could do anymore, because very quickly we realised we weren't looking after ourselves and we were trying to do everything, and that's when we did reach out and ask for help and took a break, and then everything became a little bit clearer. So yeah, Thursday this week was my day where I just sat on the sofa. I had a nice nap, which I never do on the sofa, especially not my nice brand new one. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it, and if you feel like you need it, tell somebody, tell your partner, tell your support network, tell your social worker, I need a bit of time. I'm really lucky with my agency. They would do absolutely anything to make sure that their carers aren't sort of leading down the path of compassion fatigue or burning out at all. They would do anything to make sure we're okay. And I really hope that you guys feel as though that you've got that support from your agencies or your local authorities too. Good morning. So it's Friday. We barely vlogged anything yesterday because it was a pretty mediocre day. I had loads of paperwork to do, some catching up to do. I blitzed the house. Kids come home from school in not the nicest moods. That kind of carried on until bedtime. Yeah, just wasn't a very nice day yesterday. But this morning, it's Friday. They both got up okay. Elsa was out of bed, banging on walls. And she said she did it because she got told off before bed yesterday. But we just said that's the complete opposite to what you want to do. But anyway, she soon cheered up when we packed all her volcano stuff up, because that's today. I can't wait to hear about it. I really wish that I was able to see her do it. But Squirtle has got his certificate at 2:30 today, so I'm just Netflixing until then, to be perfectly honest with you. I deserve it, I need it. Nico's working tomorrow, so I've got the children again. 6-day week, work. But yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of editing of this vlog, because I've noticed that I'm the worst vlogger ever, and I need to narrate a few bits, and it's really hard to film your life when you're running a home and a family and meetings and all sorts, and also then trying to be secretive because I've got protected children. So I'm enjoying this coffee, I'm enjoying my gorgeous sofa, and I'm about to Netflix and genuinely chill. So as you can see, I woke up on Friday, and the behaviours that had followed through Thursday afternoon and slightly into Friday morning, I still felt like I needed a little bit more time, and I wasn't putting any pressure on myself to get up and do anything on Friday. And that's what I mean when I say that self-care is really important, because you need to be able to go, you know what, they did this,
meh, move on. So Friday ended up being a really, really nice day. Me and Auntie Bernie went to school and watched Squirtle get his certificate, which was lovely. He got a postcard home like Elsa did the other week. So that was super nice. And then we picked them up from school, and the science fair was actually after school for an hour. So I was really chuffed because I actually got to see her do it. She didn't win. Another volcano came second place, which I was gutted for her, but she really wasn't about the winning. Like, we hadn't spoke about winning or anything like that because the letter didn't say anything about the competition. But she will be getting a little prize on Monday in assembly for just taking part. And it was lovely to see them excited about science, and some of the experiments that the kids were doing were mad. They were proper cool. And again, like, I just live for that stuff. I just love it. Like, I love getting involved, and I love showing an interest, and I love how proud the children are when they've got an adult there who's supporting them and showing an interest in what they do. I love being that person, and I love being there supporting the children through stuff like that. So Bernie hung around and had dinner with us, which was nice. The children always love her being around. That was it really for in terms of what I filmed. So Saturday I had the children on my own in the morning. I dealt with the biggest blowout tantrum in the world, but it was kind of something that needed to come to a head, and I'm glad that it did. And it feels like it's cleared the air a little bit, and Squirtle's not as hostile with us, or he got a lot off of his chest, a lot of his emotions out. I put all my training into practice, and I felt like I handled it really well. And yeah, I think we might have reached a tiny turning point with him, which is fantastic. Nico came home and they had a movie night last night. Nico cooked me dinner, which was really nice. And then today, Nico's taken them swimming. So I feel like I've not done absolutely anything this weekend. He's really given me the opportunity to have a good old chill and a sort out, which I'm just so grateful for. I'm really lucky that I do this with somebody who 100,000,000% supports me, and Nico would leave his job tomorrow and do this if he could, but we rely on his wages at the moment, and it's not something that we could ever sort of do. But one day, if we do find ourselves in a financial position to be able to do it, my dad always says we'll end up like Dr. Bernardo's, or we'll end up turning a big house into just a children's home or something. But he touched on that in the little Q&A that I did with him, just how it's really important that both of you do want to do it, or if you are doing it alone, you have got somebody to rely on. So I'm really lucky. They're at swimming to try and get Elsa to kick her legs on her belly. So fingers crossed this week she can go up a level 2, and then I think they're doing some adventure playground thing or something. So they'll come back exhausted. And it's 7 days till Elsa's birthday. My parents are visiting this weekend. We're having a little tea party for her. So again, just another week of all systems go. It never ends, it never stops. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I've got Nico home. He's on lates this week, so he's around in the morning. So any questions you have got for him, please let me know. Any questions you've got for me, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them all. And sorry this was a bit pants. I feel like it was a really up in the air vlog. I've never done anything like it before. Doing just a day in the life was much easier because it's more condensed. But I thought it was a good week just to show you how varied it is between it being a job and just a lifestyle. So I hope you got something out of it, and I will see you soon. See you later.